What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MF podcast. My guest today is Emma Jane Powell. She is the winner of Ms. Great Britain 2024. And in this interview, we're going to be covering her career in beauty pageantry, her as a person, and her advocacy for her son, who is diagnosed as non-verbal. Let's get into it. Emma, how you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's fine. It's good. I'm very, very excited for this interview. We've been pushing it back 2 months now.
I know, we've made it happen though. That's all that counts.
Yeah. You are very, very busy. Very busy. You've won 2024 Ms. Great Britain Beauty Pageant.
That's correct.
You've had, was it 17 years experience?
Started at 17,
Started at
14
17.
years experience.
14 years
Yeah.
experience in how would you describe it? Beauty pageantry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pageantry, yeah.
You have a plethora of educational qualifications, which are advertised on your Instagram profile, but you're using everything that you have right now to kind of advocate for your son, advocate for inclusivity and
Absolutely.
transparency.
Yeah.
What have I missed?
I think that's a great sum up. Thank you for that.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. So I want to start with trying to understand more about what goes into pageantry. So I've never really competed in anything like this. I've never really known anyone who's competed in it, but I have seen bits and bobs from things like TV shows in America and films in America, and so there is this kind of not stigma, but yeah, I think people think beauty pageantry is this kind of thing where very pretty women kind of get up on stage and kind of compete for prizes. Is that the gist of it, or
Not quite. And I think not quite. But I think what you have to remember as well is that pageantry has evolved as well throughout the years. So what it might have started as something like that. It's evolved into so much more and has so much meaning and purpose now in today's society than it did back then.
okay? What does it mean for you?
It means everything, actually. I've been competing for quite some time, and you get to meet like-minded women, and you have such a platform to make a difference.
Okay, we did have quite an extensive conversation off camera.
Yeah.
You've been competing since the age of 17.
Yeah.
Can we get a breakdown of that kind of career history?
Yeah, so I originally was pointed in the direction of Miss Wales, which is the qualifier for Miss World.
Okay.
So that was at 17, and 2011 that would have been. You used to have to win your regional to get through to Miss Wales.
Okay.
So 17-year-old Emma went forward to Miss Monmouthshire, didn't have a clue what she was doing, and basically just had a fantastic time. Somehow I managed to win, which was great. And I went through to Miss Wales. I didn't place, and I deserved not to place that year. I wasn't ready for it, but I had the most fantastic time, and it honestly kind of just spurred the enjoyment for it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. 2 questions. What was expected of you, and kind of more general, what is expected of you as a pageantry? What is the word?
Contestant.
Competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, in all honesty, it depends on the system that you're competing at. I think, for example, Miss Great Britain, they look for somebody who has purpose, somebody who is personable, someone who can make a difference. They look for good qualities, I would say, overall.
Okay. You were telling me about another competition, like I said, off camera. But you were saying, are you comfortable talking about some of the criteria that you mentioned about how, what was it? No kids, not being married.
Yeah, so some of the entry criteria around certain pageants, and this has changed now, that there was requirements that you couldn't be married, you had to be within a certain age bracket, and you couldn't have children.
Okay.
So now, thank goodness, that has changed for a lot of
Yeah,
pageants. For instance, Miss Great Britain, it's categorized into different ages, but you can be married, have kids. That doesn't define you as a person.
No, I think that's really, really good. I think it shows a lot of inclusivity, and that's great. So you've touched on it slightly, that Miss Great Britain, the competition, has 3 categories. I've done a bit of research myself. Those categories are Miss Great Britain, Ms. Great Britain, and Was it Ms. Classic or
Miss
Classic?
Great Britain Classic.
Yeah, Classic. Do you want to talk a little bit more about those?
Absolutely. Yep. So Miss Great Britain is for age 18 to 30, and Ms. Great Britain is 31 to 44, which is what I was fortunate to have won. And then we have 45 plus, which is classic.
Brilliant. So yeah, so like I said, I've done a bit of research into Miss Great Britain, longest running beauty pageant in the UK.
It is the most prestigious, and it's our 80th year this year.
That's
So
amazing.
very excited.
The research that I did, it said that beauty pageants began Miss Great Britain began in 1948 as a way to kind of motivate people to come back to the beaches, to motivate people to come, for seaside holidays. And they felt that the beauty pageant was an appropriate form of entertainment because it was something that the whole family could kind of engage with. It was something safe and modest
Yeah.
for the men to look at. It was something that the women could kind of get behind, and it was something for young girls to compete in. Do you feel that that's still the same in 2025? 2024?
To an extent, yeah, but I feel like it's gone far more beyond that as well.
In what way?
In the sense of just what the girls are bringing to the stage, what they're talking about, their stories, their advocacies. It's gone that step further
Interesting.
to highlight
Okay.
different areas, I think, which, for instance, through the women that I've met, they've had certain conditions or things happen to them which I wasn't aware of. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Because we actually mentioned this. You said that you competing when you were 18 would be very different to competing with an 18-year-old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at different points in your life, aren't you? And times have changed as well. What was
Times have
acceptable
changed,
when we
yeah.
were 18
Yeah.
might not be.
Well, this is one thing that fascinates me. I have a younger sister. She's just turned 17. I see the things that she's involved in her life and the world that she exists in. Some things I'm envious for. Some things
Yeah.
I'm really not.
I agree.
I'm
completely
kind of
agree.
yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Does the competition come with any prizes or awards or accolades?
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, each competition's different, but at Great Britain, we won a fantastic winners photo shoot with Charlotte Clemmy. We're also in June going to Spain. And we've got another photo shoot there with
Nice.
Charlotte, which is going to be incredible. So
Nice.
I'm so looking forward to that. We get to have a meal in the Shard.
Oh,
London,
okay.
yeah,
Nice.
that's
Yeah,
been
okay.
paid for. We were also at the New Year's Day parade in London. That was
I did see that.
so
yeah.
much fun. It was a massive washout.
All of you
and-
looked fantastic. Big smiles across your faces.
well,
Yeah.
I was given Hagrid, but honestly, if you look at the hair and everything else, it was so rainy and windy, but it was so much fun. Honestly, if you get a chance to go to the New Year's Day parade, go. It's really, really something special.
in London.
Yeah.
Because I remember this. We that night we ended up YouTubing the fireworks display.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was okay. It was good. There was a few different live streams, but just I was looking at the sheer number of people.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't.
Yeah, and there's so
Yeah.
many people internationally that come, and they were like, "Can I have a photo with you?" It was brilliant. I felt like a celebrity. I was like, "Wow!" You could tell the people who were British compared to those who weren't.
Nice. Okay, nice. So you are the first Welsh woman to win Miss Great Britain.
Yeah, so the first Ms. winner, and I think the first person to win who's got Welsh heritage, especially in the Miss category, for quite some time. I think Liz Fuller was our last Welsh winner for Miss. So I think that was like 20, 30 years ago. Don't quote me.
Okay. I'll go through the website.
Yeah, go
later on
through the
and scan the
website.
names and try and find it. How does that make you feel as a Welsh person? I mean, so when you fill out forms and they ask you, how do you identify? Do you identify as Welsh or do you identify as British?
I would say first Welsh and then British.
First Welsh, then
Yeah.
British. I don't care. I don't mind it. I'm like
Yeah.
I do consider myself British.
Yeah, absolutely.
But where I can, I think definitely tick the Welsh box.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Do you feel like there's been a lot of accommodation for your Welshness, or just
Yeah, I mean, overall, I feel absolutely honoured. And we're really lucky this year because the three winners, I'm Welsh, Ava's Scottish, and the classic is English. So we're all there.
nice?
So it's
Okay,
nice, I think, to have that representation for the whole of Great Britain.
yeah, yeah.
As opposed to just English because England is bigger, there's more contestants, so the
Oh,
likely chances are that it's more.
something like 56 million people in
Yeah,
England
so
and 3 million in Wales.
yeah, so I
Okay.
think it's nice that I can bring that Welsh culture to Great Britain as well.
What about sacrifices? What kind of limitations? Not limitations. Are there any standards that you must now adhere to? Now that you've won such a prestigious award as this.
I suppose there's time that it takes to go to events and everything
Okay.
else, and having to have that time management balance between family life, work, etc. is,
Yes.
that's quite hard sometimes. But I pride myself with my time management skills, so hopefully, it's
I mean,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, we mentioned at the beginning that it was quite difficult trying to lock down this interview. There was a lot of delays from yourself, from myself as well. But I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we can get it done. Your time management in general astounds me. Like I said, your academic qualifications are all smeared across your Instagram
Thank you.
profile. How do you like honestly? How do you find the time to achieve all of those qualifications and still have a family life and still compete in pageantry?
I mean, it's tough overall, but I think I would say one of my strengths is that I am a really determined individual. I'm definitely not the smartest or anything by that means, but I'm such a trier. If I put in my mind that I want to do something, whether it be education, pageants, or advocate for my son, it's something that I will get there, even if it takes me time. And I think that's such a life lesson that a lot of people should take from this.
Determination.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was the first in my family to go to university,
Nice.
and
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
I was really lucky that I've had such a supportive family network around me since I've been little. Have really pushed me to be the best version of myself. So I've had to do it not just for me, for them. And then I think that's also why I've loved pageantry so much because it's aligned with me as a person, my values, what I want out of life.
Family have been very supportive. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
they love it. We also show horses as well. I haven't told you that, but yeah, we show horses. My mum and I do, so we can be quite competitive. We've shown and won at the Royal International Horse Show and Horse News
Nice.
Show. So yeah, my mum gets it with pageants, but you can't blame the horse. You don't have the horse to blame when you're in pageants. It's just you.
Nice. Okay. There is this general kind of culture in your family of understanding the importance of aesthetics and the effort that goes into it. Brilliant. Okay, that's awesome. As a photographer, I try to care more about aesthetics than in general. But just yeah, it seems to be easier for me to apply it to other people
Yeah, I
than
get that.
than to
It's
myself.
tough. It's tough. And no, honestly, I'm probably my worst critic. Like some of my friends will take the mick out of me if I have a photo and I'll be scanning myself. And I think it's tough. There's such hard ideals, I think, at the moment with
But
Instagram and
you
everything
you
else. And
have to though.
yeah,
Your industry is pageant like beauty pageantry. You
yeah,
have to show that you have this quality. Have you ever been accused of being vain?
maybe by my husband sometimes. But he's equally as vain. Callum, if you're listening to that.
Bless him. He seems like a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he is. He's
Obviously,
great.
I made the joke earlier about how that if my partner had won Ms. Great Britain, I'd be bragging to everyone. I'd be so big headed.
She should enter it now. Maybe we should make her. I think we
Yeah,
should. Yeah,
yeah,
let's encourage
yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Just to give a brief rundown of the qualifications that you've talked about on Instagram. Bachelor of Science in Human Resources,
International business.
International
Yeah,
Business, a graduate diploma in law.
yeah.
Was that 1 year or 2
That was
years?
3 years compressed into one. So that was where I met Callum actually. So yeah, we got each other through it. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
talk about
hard.
determination.
Yeah, yeah.
3 years compressed into one. How do you like?
That was
Yeah.
tough. That's yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Master of Science in Human Resources.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
A mental health first aid qualified.
yeah.
That piqued my interest quite a bit because I understand what first aid qualified
Mhm.
is. What is mental health first aid qualified?
It kind of equips you're not a practitioner, you're not a doctor by any means or any sense, but I
Can't
think
diagnose,
no, no,
can't
no,
medicate.
no, no, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
But again, like first aid, it kind of equips you with the tools to understand if somebody is at crisis point and how to deal with that situation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, say you're out and about, and someone seems like they're having a bit of a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
You would be more qualified to kind of step in and say, well, I don't know how would you apply mental health first aid?
Obviously, it's situation dependent.
Okay.
But I think it's using the tools around you to assess whether that person is at crisis point and maybe signposting them to different support services or help. It's all situation dependent.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But I
Um,
definitely recommend it if it's one course, especially, which I think is really worthwhile completing. Well, that and first aid.
Definitely. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I am going to be looking it up
Do
not
it.
only for. I mean, there's certain people in my life that have mental
Yeah.
health. I think we're all prone to it on
Hmm.
some level. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So, international business, diploma in law, and human relations. How much of an overlap from those qualifications is there in beauty pageantry or your beauty pageantry?
So I would say overall from university is that it does help you and shape you into the person that you are in terms of I would say like your analytical skills, your problem solving, and the
Okay,
way you look at life far more I'd say than almost what you're learning, if that makes sense. So I do think that it's shaped my mind, probably the way I talk, what I have to say. I interview as part of my job
mm,
working in HR, obviously. So
mm.
I think talking is a skill really, which
It,
goes hand in hand. I
it
think.
seems like there's a lot of people skills.
Yeah.
Don't really want to water it down to just people, glorifying people
No, no,
skills,
no.
but it seems like it's a really good combination of trying to cover as much of a wide spread of people as possible,
Yeah.
but also kind of make sure that they all kind of get fair treatment across the board,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you quoted that it comes in handy as for leadership positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay. Obviously, I think one of the key leadership positions that you find yourself in regularly is as a mother.
Yeah.
Leo.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a few pictures on your Instagram.
Hmm.
He seems like the most delightful little boy in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We will get into your advocacy of him and his condition and your kind of end goal with that, but we will save that for a little bit later on in the interview. I do want to stretch this out just a little bit longer.
Do you want to talk about my dissertation? You had that question.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Why
yeah.
not?
So obviously, part of your masters was to write a dissertation.
Yeah.
What was your dissertation on?
So, my dissertation was on the effects of emotional labour in hospitality. So, you're going to find this really interesting.
Okay.
Do you know about emotional labour?
If I had to define emotional labor,
Yeah.
I would I don't know. Am I right in assuming that it's kind of like fake
Yeah.
happiness kind of thing?
Yeah,
Like
so it's kind of like in every hospitality trade, you're kind of you're people try and train you to almost produce happy, smiley emotions. Think Disney, think
definitely,
any
yeah.
hospitality. If you go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
people expect to be greeted with a smile. So my dissertation was a case study approach at one organisation, and it was looking at the effects of asking an employee to produce those emotions.
Okay.
So my findings agreed with historic data in the sense that employees who almost try to internalize those emotions. So, for instance, if you ask someone to feel happy, that they try to make themselves physically feel happy by either thinking like of happy experiences
Okay.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
they actually experience the most severe burnout and exhaustion from that. Whereas people
Wow.
who can basically smile on cue and are dead behind the eyes,
Yeah. That would have been my advice. Yeah. Just fake it. Yeah.
yeah, we're fine. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
I thought you'd like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that tickles me quite a lot. That would have been my advice. I was thinking,
Yeah.
how would I advise someone to be it? Like I would say, just pretend. Just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just
exactly.
pretend to be happy. As soon as the customer's gone or you finish,
Yeah.
just it did remind me of the end credits of Toy Story 2, where so obviously Toy Story they go to Big Al's barn and there's rows and rows and rows of Barbies
Yeah.
and there's Air Hostess Barbie. And in the credit scene of Toy Story 2, Air Hostess Barbie is saying, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Bye bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bye bye.
that's
Nice
it.
to see you. Okay, bye
Yeah.
bye. And then right at the end of it, she's like, okay, is everyone gone?
Yeah.
Oh, my cheeks are hurting. So
That's
yeah.
exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. We've all done a hospitality job, haven't we? We've all had to do it. So yeah.
I think it expands it outside of hospitality to kind of everyday
Yeah.
life. You were mentioning, as you were telling me the story of some of your experiences, you were saying that you referred a lot to your Britishness and British kind of stiff upper lip and respecting people's
Yeah.
customs and things like
Yeah.
that. I think we put a lot of emotional labor into just general everyday life.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We probably don't even realize we're doing it half the time because it's kind
Yeah.
of ingrained, like you said, into British culture.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I study a lot of social media trends, social media kind of management in general, and obviously, I think anyone who's kind of grown up with it, especially us, would
Yeah.
be aware of how in the early days there seemed to be an etiquette online, and then as the years went on, and new demographics came onto the internet, there was a shift in politeness and the kind of content that people were putting out.
Hmm.
So I would definitely agree that there is an emotional labor in everyday life.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I'll
Wow.
send it to
Okay.
you. I'll send my dissertation so you can have a read.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, that's
You can
fascinating.
grade
That's
me, see
great.
what you
Yeah.
think.
I don't know if I'd grade it, but yeah, definitely trying to steal some ideas. So we're coming up to the half-hour mark. We're gonna take a little break. I'm gonna swap the batteries and the cards on the camera, and then we're gonna come straight back. And Emma's gonna tell us all about her advocacy for her son's non-verbal condition. Yeah, just yeah, it all seems to kind of integrate integrate together. Have you seen your followers increase since winning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually haven't looked at a detailed analysis of it, but yeah, for sure they have increased.
Do you ever look at detailed analyses of your social media profiles?
Probably not as much as I should, to be honest. I'm kind of like, yeah, that'll do as long as I'm kind of posting what I want, and I think if it's meaningful and making some sort of impact. I actually haven't looked at. I should. I should.
Uh,
Yeah, actually, you're looking at me like, God, Emma, you need to.
no. So obviously, so we've just come back from a break now. We were just having a quick conversation about the overlap between social media and beauty pageantry. Yeah, there's definitely a few questions that I still want to kind of ask about that. You mentioned that you feel like influencers. So I just to give a give background context. I mentioned that I would have thought there would have been a lot of kind of partnerships with beauty brands, makeup brands, clothing brands, things like that that come with Ms. Great Britain. But you said that you think influencers have kind of taken that away from pageant winners.
I think it's because, for instance, a lot of influencers have that following, that cult following. That I
Okay.
think for a lot of businesses, it might just be an easy direction to go to,
Okay.
rather because, like I said, not everyone knows about pageantry as much as they might
S-
influencers on their screen.
So is social media presence not that big of a deal when it comes to pageantry? Does it not influence results?
I think in Great Britain, no. But I think internationally, that for instance, there can be rounds where public vote, where it's done on social likes and things like
Interesting.
that.
Okay.
So, for instance, you've got your powerhouses, for instance, like the Philippines, USA, and the population is so much
Oh, massive,
bigger
huge,
than GB.
huge. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where I'd say actually, yeah, social media, following count, everything like that can have a
I,
huge impact, especially on some competitions where they might get a lead up to the final because of that. They might get a place in the top 20 because of public vote or something along those lines.
We see, well, I certainly see a lot of it in competitions featuring artists and musicians where they'll be put on a competition and they'll need to get their fans to vote for
That's
them.
right. Yeah.
And it essentially just comes down to spam in the end. But I even said something similar to you about the Middle Finger podcast, about how it will reach its limit on who will be interested in it, because Wales is just such a small place. Newport only has a population of 150,000. At some point someone's going to say, I'm not going to listen to that podcast because I don't know anything about the people or where it's from.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, that's quite interesting. I would have thought that beauty pageant. I would have thought there would have been a lot more social activity or a lot more social media integration with this kind of stuff. But maybe I'm just coming at it from the wrong end.
I think there is. There could be, but from my perspective, I think it's judged on you as a person in Great Britain and what you can do, not what your following count
But
is.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean though.
Yeah.
Your social media platform or your social media accounts are just online pit stops
Yeah.
for people to kind of find out
Yeah.
who you are and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, all of this stuff will come into my questions with Leo and his condition and your
Yeah.
kind of advocacy for that. But I do want to ask you, what is the future for your pageantry?
My pageantry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be handing over back in October.
Oh.
In October. Oh, so I've got what, 6 months? Is it?
April. Yes, 6 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's been a wonderful year, and I'd never say never, but I think this will be my last time competing, so I'll be hanging up the pageant heels. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you've achieved it.
Yeah.
You have achieved Ms. Great Britain. Personally, I feel like that is a massive, massive achievement.
Yeah.
I'm certainly impressed by it, and I'm sure there are many contestants out there who are just green with envy that why did this Welsh girl win it?
Hope not.
Yeah. No, you have to be polite. I don't have to be polite, but you have to be polite. Okay. So you think you had your fun?
I think so.
Okay.
I'd like to still stay in the industry, but what that looks like now, I'm not quite sure.
You
but
can start a YouTube channel and just give advice to future contestants and break it down for them, and yeah,
absolutely.
I'd film that.
There we go.
Yeah,
Got a partnership going.
Sorry, there we go. Brilliant. Awesome. Right. Okay. On to the fun stuff. Leo, we've already mentioned such a fantastic kid. So a non-verbal diagnosis.
Mhm.
Can you explain to me what that means?
Actually, if I rewind it back, I think
Please
first
do.
of all, just to kind of set the story there
Yeah.
with Leo and what we've experienced. So when Leo was born, I had a bit of a rough birth, but I had a really great pregnancy.
Okay.
And from then on, Leo hit all his milestones and was really excelling actually on paper.
Yeah.
And he was around 15 months and he was saying around, I think, 15 words. And that was a little bit under than what he should have, but it wasn't something which actually was recognised at that point of being, with not being at that milestone.
Okay.
And we had our health visitor come across. Just went. Our health visitor came across and kept saying to me, no, he's doing fine. He's still really little. Like, give him some time. And kind of. So then it kind of went in, I would say around 6 months then, from it being like, he's fine. He's hitting all his milestones to, actually, Leo's quite behind.
6 months.
Yeah. So I in that time frame as well, Callum and I found that almost overnight he almost started to regress in terms of his words.
Wow.
So he started to talk less, even just being, if we called him, his attention span seemed to have become less as well overnight. So it was almost, and again, that was just our feelings. It might not have been literally overnight, but that's how we felt. And we were then pushed forward then when the health visitor came and visited him again and said, actually, she did an assessment on him and said, yeah, he is behind. So I'm going to refer him to X, Y, and Z. And that was why then we were referred for a neurological assessment, and Leo was put forward for speech and language. And we were then referred to the Sparkle Appeal charity as well. And that in itself, I had a phone call at work to say that we've been referred to this charity.
Right.
And this charity was also a charity that I'd raised money for in school.
Of course, yeah.
So I was familiar with it. I
The
don't know if you've
Sparkle
been.
Appeal,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really, really great. I broke down actually at work and started crying because I couldn't believe that actually I had raised money for this charity and now I needed support from it.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
So it was almost a full circle moment, and just kind of accepting that was
Wow.
a lot.
Okay.
So fast forward anyway, so we had speech and language, and I should have actually brought some of the communication boards that they're advocating at the moment. They're kind of like big boards, laminated sheets,
Okay.
and they're kind of prescribed for different tasks. So for instance, if Leo wanted to trampoline, there's lots of different kind of
Ways for him to communicate. Okay.
images and things like that.
I mean, if there's anything to do with links, we can always add a link into the description of this video.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we were going to this speech and language, and at first they're quite, and again, I'm not a speech and language professional, so I don't really know the process of it.
Okay.
But it's quite hard at first because you don't really understand. You ask a lot of questions, which again, they can't answer for you either, because at first no one wants to put a quick diagnosis on it,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
The doctors, they don't want to diagnose it too quickly, or
Well, that was just how we felt, as if no one was giving us a lot of answers. We were going to these sessions and they were pushing communication and different ways for Leo to communicate, but they weren't actually they weren't giving us the answers in terms of why Leo wasn't talking.
Right. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we went to a few sessions and
jumping to the solution before the kind of diagnosis kind of thing.
just
Right,
so we
okay,
could
all right,
understand it.
Yeah.
And we then went private and had a private speech and language assessment. And that was where we had the assessment that he does have a speech and language disorder.
Yep.
And that was probably the most helpful thing to me. It was sad that we had to go privately, but I felt as if that was, if I can exhaust every option to get an answer from my child, like I will.
It's your side, yeah.
So we went private, and the practitioner that we had was just really frank with me, and she said, like, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if Leo will ever be able to talk.
I think you'll find that with private.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
But she said, based on what I've seen and what I've evaluated today, I do think he's autistic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she couldn't make that evaluation because she was a speech and language therapist. But she was, that was what she was saying to me one-on-one.
It wasn't her specialty.
Yeah.
But within her specialty of communication and speech therapy, she could see this.
Yeah.
Right.
So after that, I could get my head around it quite a lot more.
Okay.
And I had to realise that actually what I'd been fixated on was Leo talking. And talking isn't the goal here.
Okay.
Communicating is the goal.
Communication, yeah.
And once I've wrapped my head around that, because I would spend hours and days crying about it because I was so worried. I was like, he can't talk. How is he gonna approach this world if people can't understand him? And for me, I could just see it as black and white of, oh, you're nonverbal or you can talk. And for instance, since that, I've undertaken a Hannon course, which is about communication. Okay. So there's different levels of communication within this course. So you have your partner level, which is kind of the top tier level in the sense that that's children talking, communicating.
Okay.
I'm no expert, by the way, so please correct me if I've got any of this wrong. This is just my understanding. Your bottom level is kind of those who are explorers, and they're that's very, very little communication. And that you might not know, for instance, what they want or why they're crying.
Is that a lot more physical activity rather than verbal communication? Or?
Yeah, so the first three aren't really verbal communication. The second then is a requester. So for instance, children that lead.
Okay, nice. Yeah, okay.
And do things like that. And then the third level then is early communicator. And that's where Leo was at. So Leo will point, Leo will engage with you,
Nice.
Leo
Okay.
will smile, interact. He gives a thumbs up. But I'll have to get a picture of him. So actually, it was. So I have to get a photo of him now. We'll just pose it right here.
Yeah.
So actually, when I looked at it in that framework, I think I'd been looking at it completely the wrong way, and it wasn't black and white as, oh, someone's nonverbal, someone can't talk,
No.
to
Yeah.
someone can't communicate. And once like I said, I got my head around that, life was looking a lot more positive.
Good. No,
It
definitely,
was.
definitely, yeah.
And I think a lot of people like me, I wasn't educated on it. A lot of people don't know what nonverbal means.
I mean, I haven't done my research extensively, but I always thought that nonverbal was a preference for communication. I didn't realize that it was something more than that. I didn't realize it was a debilitation, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because yeah, communication for me, I've never thought of talking as the only way to
Yeah,
communicate.
of course.
We have things like sign language, and certainly during my time in air cadets, we would learn hand signs
Yeah.
to communicate without actually speaking. So
Mhm.
I've always thought it a bit just being a preference for
Mhm.
communication, but it's more than that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. We think that Leo is a gestalt processor
Okay.
in the sense that it's not words that he learns, it's kind of like phrases and tone of language.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
again, but we are still actually on. We've been waiting for the neurological assessment. Was on the waiting list since October 2023. We've had the assessment, but we still to this day have not had the report.
Is this with NHS as well? Public? Yep.
NHS.
They're so busy. I imagine you guys have already priced up going private as well for that, or
We did, and we have. However, with that, it still has to be assessed by the NHS. So even if we had that private diagnosis,
no way.
yeah. So I was recommended by friends and professionals in the industry
Yeah.
that if I needed that assessment, to go for it. But actually, in the scheme of things, but again, that's just what I've been told. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's true.
He's also still very, very young. 3 years old.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
3.
Do you believe that he will? I don't know. I don't want to sound insensitive, but do you ever believe that he will grow out of this?
I don't think it's something that you. No, I don't think it's something you grow out of. I
Okay.
just think, of course, I'd love Leo to be able to talk. I absolutely would.
He sounds like a fantastic
He is.
bloke already.
He's
just
really
thumbs
wonderfully
up, and
spirited.
that's
Like
it,
he is
yeah.
exactly like me. He's a
You
mini
right,
me,
Leo?
to be fair. Yeah,
That's it, mate.
yeah, and he's really affectionate and loving,
Good.
and
Good.
yeah,
I imagine a lot of it is not being able to ask him what he wants, but rather telling him that something is happening, not telling him things.
it's hard sometimes when he doesn't understand things. So we've created a board for him.
Yeah. Okay.
Over the individual boards. Like I said, we've created a board which he can use in everyday life. Things like if he needs to ask for the toilet, snack, drink, all that good stuff.
Okay.
However, when it's hard sometimes is, for instance, I don't know, say we've got to go somewhere first. We're going to go to the park, but we need to, I don't know, do something in
an
between.
errand, yeah, of course.
And he doesn't understand that sometimes, and that's the hardest thing.
So off the top of my head, if I had to communicate that, and I'm no way trying to step on any on your toes or your husband's toes, but if I had to communicate that, I would probably try to communicate that there is going to be. So if the park is a destination, so if we're leaving home and park is a destination, I would try to communicate that we are going to one place and then another place and then the park in between. I mean,
No.
just
So
off the,
you're exactly right. So that's what we do with symbols.
Nice. Okay.
So, for instance, if you see me usually like walking around, I'll have like a clip on me, and it'll have like loads of different pictures. So yeah.
Where's the film with
So
Bruce,
if you're like, why is she
Willis?
walking around with that clip with,
there's
which is on it? Now you know.
There's the film with Bruce Willis. You've got the little boy who's he figures out this secret code, Can you remember the
No,
film?
I don't know what
Right.
you're
So
on about. It's like,
oh my god. Right. So there's a film. I know I keep mentioning films. So there's a film with Bruce Willis. It's a really old film. And there's a little boy who's he's got autism,
yeah.
and basically he loves puzzles. Like his parents always get him a puzzle book, and he actually has one of those little flip pads with
Got you.
things like
Yeah.
bus driver, mum,
Yeah.
dad,
Yeah.
pack, things
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah. Some kids have devices, like almost like iPads.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
would devices be able to speak on their behalf?
Well, some can. Yeah,
Yeah,
if they can press it, it'll give,
interesting.
for instance. Yeah.
Okay, so your advocacy,
Yeah.
you advocate for inclusivity
Yeah.
and transparency.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that a little bit more? The whichever one you fancy, the inclusivity or the
Yeah. So I
transparency.
think since having Leo, and then obviously no one thinks that they're going to have a child with additional needs. No one does. No one thinks like that. You
Yeah.
just
No.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
It has changed my whole life, and even day to day. For instance, if we go to the doctors or something along those lines, and someone will try and talk to Leo, for instance, and if Leo will engage, don't get me wrong, but if he doesn't verbally answer back, a lot of people will kind of look at me, and I'll have to say,
What's wrong with- Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So then
Right.
I'll have to say, yeah, Leo is non-verbal, and
Right.
with that, 9 out of 10 times, people will automatically just look to me and talk at me and ignore him.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. And I think one of the biggest things for me is that Leo isn't any less capable than any other child or any other person, and just not being able to verbally communicate doesn't define you in that
You
way.
should have brought him for the
So
podcast.
I
Get on a house on fire. Yeah.
so I think in terms of inclusivity, what that means in essence is that we need to respect those.
Okay.
We almost need to empower those as well. And we need to support those individuals with those additional needs.
100%.
But in order to do so, and I suppose this is where transparency leads into it, is that people need to be educated of how to do that. Because if they don't know and don't understand the condition or the additional needs, then how can people support? How can people empower those individuals? So this is where there needs to be so much more resources, and there needs to be so much more feedback in terms of what we're doing today, so that people understand children and individuals like Leo who have these additional needs, and what that means in layman's terms, how they can change in everyday life.
Where would those resources come from? I think non-verbal, certainly from what I've noticed, is becoming more of a widespread
Yeah.
thing. There's certainly more and more children from what I'm
Yeah.
hearing are
Yeah,
having this I don't want to say condition, but
the additional needs.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's safe to say that these resources would have to come from a government level.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All
it's
right.
something at the moment I think needs a lot more investment into, particularly I think with teachers as well.
So educational infrastructure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What about families? How? Because you've mentioned that you had to go private, that the NHS was too bogged down. Do you think that there should be more resources allocated in the NHS specifically for children who are non-verbal, or
Absolutely.
yeah?
Especially in our area as well. My experience is living in South Wales, so I don't know if someone's experience would be different if they
Oh,
lived in
I know
England or
plenty.
Scotland,
Yeah, of course.
or
Yeah,
even,
yeah.
I've been told in our catchment area it might be different if, for instance, we lived in Caerphilly.
Interesting.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
resources and I think sometimes it is a little bit of a lottery on where you live, and I suppose this is where we need to.
So yeah, just so I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm best friends with local politicians. I won't. But I certainly know a few, and a few certainly know me. I will definitely be sending this interview to them.
Thank you.
Just to make sure that there is a raised awareness
Absolutely.
for not only children who are non-verbal, but the families that kind of have to
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah, yeah.
And you are right. Healthcare is one of the devolved issues in Wales.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will be tagging lots of people in this. So if the government were a bit delayed on sharing resources for this, what would be your kind of advice to people watching this who would want to be more inclusive to non-verbal people? What advice would you give them?
I think that's a really good question. I think have a quick search, look at resources around you so that you can fully understand about what nonverbal might mean. And again, each individual is different. So what Leo's strengths are as a nonverbal individual might be
Yes.
different to
Yep.
another's, and that's one thing we don't want to almost box.
Exclude?
No,
No?
almost pigeonhole people into thinking that they're going to be a certain way and that they've got certain
Oh,
requirements.
yeah, pigeonhole, box,
Yeah, I
narrow,
think, and this is where it comes with
isolate. Yeah,
speaking with
okay.
the parents, understanding the child, and giving that child actually that time that you get to know them. So,
Definitely.
for instance, Leo, we think, is hyposensitive. So, a lot of people know of hypersensitive. Yeah, so for
Yeah.
instance, loud noises or textures and things like that. You can see kids sometimes will hold their hands over their
Definitely,
ears and things like that.
yeah.
Whereas Leo's actually hyposensitive. So Leo almost craves. He likes the loud
Interesting.
music. He likes spinning. He almost enjoys that to regulate himself.
He wants a little extra. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so and again, that wasn't something I wasn't aware of beforehand. For instance, Leo's got this little spinny chair that he absolutely loves. And whenever my friends come round, if you've had a drink and you go round on this spinny chair, wow, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that Autism Wales does some great free training. So
Okay.
I'll send you the links on it.
Please do. Yeah, I will
Yeah,
definitely drop those in the description as well. Yeah. Leo sounds fantastic. If we ever cross paths again, because you do live in the area, if we ever cross paths again and you see me out and about and I don't block you guys, please.
Yeah.
Please grab my attention
Oh,
and please
absolutely.
let me meet
We'll
this
grab your
fantastic.
attention. Don't worry, you can't
yeah,
miss us.
yeah. I'm going to keep an eye out for this fantastic little boy now. I've got nephews who were considered non-verbal, but really it was just everyone else in the family talking too much. So they just kind of just shut down.
And that's it. It's different for each individual, isn't it? And just because Leo is hypersensitive and we believe is autistic, that doesn't necessarily mean that another child is experiencing that. It might just be a speech delay. It might be selective.
No, definitely.
So, and I think that's the hardship sometimes.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah, I'm really satisfied that we've talked extensively about that. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you do want to say about Leo's inclusivity?
One thing I would like to say is that I have created a little children's book, and it is called The Lion Who Couldn't Roar, and it is actually available on Amazon now. And the profits will be going to the Sparkle Appeal, which is a local charity which supports Leo and other children with additional needs. So
Fantastic, brilliant. The Lion Who Couldn't Roar. Okay, I'm going to order one of those myself. Brilliant. Emma, I'm really satisfied with this interview. I think we've done really well. I've asked you a lot about your pageantry. Yes, you've had to be very polite and not kind of say too much about too many people, but that's that's fine. That comes with being being the top, being the best. Congratulations on winning the Ms. Great Britain category. Best of luck to you with Leo. He's an absolutely fantastic boy. Best of luck to you with your advocacy. The final question that I want to ask you, and I ask this to absolutely everyone who comes on. This is the MF podcast, the Middle Finger podcast. I know it's a bit controversial.
You can't even make eye contact with me when you say this.
Given your position, but if there was someone or something that you could give the middle finger to, who would you give it to? What would you give it to, and why?
For me personally, it would have to be waiting times.
Ooh,
Waiting
okay.
times, what I've experienced, and just lack of resources around my experiences with my son.
Waiting times, lack of resources. I'll take it. I'll accept it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. That was very mature response. Yeah, definitely. Fantastic. Thank you again to absolutely everyone who has checked in to watch this episode. Please follow Emma on Instagram. Please buy her book, The Lion Who Couldn't Roar. Please absolutely speak to your local politicians. Ask them for more resources, more awareness to individuals who are diagnosed with nonverbal conditions like Leo. Please, let's raise awareness for this stuff. Please also subscribe to my Patreon, www.patreon.com/thesunny, where you can find a minimum subscription tier for £3. It allows me to kind of put these productions together. It allows me to interview guests like Emma and raise awareness for some very serious causes. Thank you to everyone. That's it from us. Yeah. That's it. Peace.
You